Sorry for this. Hello and welcome to another episode of Thoughts by Jesper. This time we will start with slots, the foundation of the iGaming industry. For decades, or actually for centuries, did you know that the first slot was invented by Charles August Fay in San Francisco already 1894? It was a freewheeler with 5 symbols on each reel. And since then, we have been developing and playing slots in landscape mode. And this is natural. All slots since then, whether they have been in cabinets or played in video lottery terminals or cabinets in Las Vegas or on a computer, the landscape format has been perfect. Bang! In comes the mobile. In the beginning, the mobile was more of an interesting new channel to reach certain customers. But today, it is the dominant way of playing. Some operators have up to 80% of their gameplay via mobile. And if we look at the hyper-casual segment, the non-gambling segment, I would say 99% of the gameplay is via mobile. And more of those customers are finding their way to the casinos. We talked about this the last month. And we all know that the mobile user interface is portrait. If we browse App Store or Google Play, all social games are in portrait mode. And I think we start to see the same trend for slots. So my trend watch here today is that we will see more and more not only mobile first games, but true portrait mode games. The studio For the Player and the game 6 Wild Sharks is one really good example where they have embedded the full portrait mode on mobile. One Touch, the Estonian studio, has focused on portrait for table games and have some really cool one-handed versions. Jade Games is following this trend by releasing the Cheeky Cheshire slot later this spring and a fully portrait mode free-handed blackjack. Does this mean that all games should be developed for portrait? The answer to this is yes and no. Yes, in the sense that game developers must start thinking full portrait mode, as One Touch and For the Players are doing. But no, in the sense that it should not be the only mode. Playing on the PC is still strong in certain play groups and certain markets, as well as certain times of the day. And playing a portrait-optimized game on a PC in landscape mode is as bad as the other way around. But I think we will see a trend away from games where 40% of the retail space on the portrait screen is used for the game itself and the other 60% is used for buttons and static art. Instead, we will see games in full portrait when played like this. My next topic is something totally different. iGaming's role in fighting global warming. We know that the Earth is getting warmer and it's getting worse. Polar ice are melting, sea levels are rising. Basically, if we continue as now, we are doomed. The problem? Overconsumption of fossil-based fuel has put circa 2.4 trillion tons and counting of excessive carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, causing global warming. A straight problem with a, in theory, simple solution. 1, start reducing the usage of fossil-based fuels and energy in everyday life. And 2, developing techniques for harvesting carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The question here is, what can the iGaming industry do? Having been in the digital industry for so long now, I think many decision makers seem to think that this is more of a problem for companies making, selling and shipping stuff and not for us, because we are just digital. Fortunately, not everyone is thinking like this in the iGaming industry. I know that Aspire Global, Kindred and Playtech and some others have started working with the target of reducing carbon dioxide or even becoming carbon neutral. And this is not as difficult as it might sound. It starts with measuring today's greenhouse gas footprint, set some targets that are at least in line with the Paris Agreement, or even better. And then work from there. It will be about less traveling, and when travel, trying to go with electric or with biofuel, reduce the usage of plastic, new commute patterns for employees, and other small things. A bigger effort will be to reduce carbon dioxide per spin by switching to green hosting and green electricity for offices, etc. Being carbon dioxide neutral will not only feel good when the grandkids ask what I did to prevent the earth from burning, but it will also boost the perception of the entire industry. Seeing basically zero of these initiatives in the iGaming industry in 2019, they have picked up in 2020 with more and more companies having this on the agenda. And I hope 2021 is the year when this becomes a trend in every management team and boardroom. Thanks, and have a fantastic hour with the smart people at iGaming Next, and then a great weekend.